So Hari, you're saying that you have absolutely no competition for your product right now.
Yes,
Right?
we have zero competitors.
So that means that what you're doing would be really unique.
That's correct.
And you've been working, as you told me, with Synergy, right? Synergy Green in
Synergy,
Coimbatore,
Kishwauk, Nilcast, Crescent. Yes.
right? So you've already caught some really big players in the Foundry industry.
That's correct.
So if you guys are wondering about exactly what SeeWise does, watch ahead, because there's a lot of technology coming up, and this sort of technology is something that the industry has witnessed, which is rather new. It's yet to catch on, as you heard from it first. Welcome back to the Foundry Podcast, guys. We are officially here at SeeWise in Chennai with Mr. Balaji, the founder of SeeWise. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Ian.
Right, despite the rain, we made it here, and I hope I'm not going back in a boat. Anyway, so Balaji, I think Hari has already told us a little bit about the software as to why it's needed, but you officially conceived the idea like a long time ago. So get into your background, help the audience understand, help the foundry industry understand, like, what was your background? How did you get into software? How did you get into the industry? How did you get into AI especially? So let's just hear from you.
Sure. Firstly, thanks, Ian, for hosting us and
thank you. My pleasure.
Us covered on
Thank
this
you.
podcast
Thank
where we are all learning a lot from you,
Right.
And it's very informative when we get to hear from many of the eminent foundry people.
Okay.
And I'm again looking forward for your next podcast as well.
Thank you.
Just a little bit about our background. I will keep it very short and sweet. Like before starting SeeWise, I was running a company called Sprightly Software, to which I became an advisor right now. So from day one, before starting the company, like around 13 years, like in 2009, we started Sprightly.
2009. So
Yeah,
this is a good
2009.
15 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
So you've been doing this a while.
Yes.
Okay.
So before I became an entrepreneur, I was working for United Nations for around 5 years.
Okay.
So the values I gained from there was like use technology for good, use technology for the welfare of people, welfare of human. So I always have that urge in my mind, and that one of the reason why we started Sprightly, where we want to treat people as people and help them to achieve good things for the software services industry.
Right.
And then we started SeeWise, and where we started focusing on foundry, galvanizing, safety, and so on.
Okay.
So that's a very short overview.
Okay. So that's a lot of time you've been in software. You also had a very good example as to why your motivation behind starting going into software, going into like the foundry industry, manufacturing in a whole, right?
See,
so tell us that.
Yeah, right. You know, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence, and these days our air conditioners are built with AI, our TV is built with AI,
Correct.
and so on. So around 3 years back, we started our journey with artificial intelligence, very specifically with the manufacturing companies.
Correct.
And the key motivation behind that is, when it comes to safety, everyone says, like, Germans are very good at safety, and Japan is very good at productivity, and so on. So why not we bring that to our country and help our factories improve their safety and productivity? But more than that, one of the key factors that is driving me every day is, when I was a young kid, my uncle lost his leg in a factory.
Okay.
And it's a very big factory, very famous factory in south part of India. He lost his leg, and then eventually he had to find his own way of living, and so on. At that time, I didn't understand why he lost his leg. Okay, it's an accident. What is an accident? Oh, accidents are very common in factories.
Correct.
Why accidents are very common in factories? How avoid it? So I have no idea how to do such things, prevent such things, and so on.
Right.
But by I always wanted to use technology for good.
Right.
And when this artificial intelligence, especially the computer vision, especially when we can monitor with the help of CCTV, why not we make it so real, the real time, that we can monitor the things that are happening in your
So you can help prevent future accidents like this happening.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, there
That's
are so
amazing.
many things in a factory. Like there, so many accidents can happen in a factory, and
Correct.
when you categorize it, the most common one is the near miss accident. So
Correct.
when we can predict and raise an alarm in real time that an accident is going to happen,
Correct.
that's the best thing we can give to this world.
Amazing.
For example, let's say you are approaching a press machine
Correct.
without a hand glove, then we can make an alert.
Okay.
Even we can stop the press machine.
Right.
So when you take foundry industry, that foundry is the most pivotal for any manufacturing
Right,
company.
right.
Foundry is the starting of everything.
Correct. The mother of all industries, as they say.
Exactly.
Right.
And when it comes to foundry, the furnace is the most very dangerous place to work.
Correct. Correct.
And we have to do everything to ensure the safety is there,
Right.
because you are handling the molten metal, you are handling several things going in and around and so
Correct.
on.
Correct.
So if we can raise an alarm that
Correct.
a person is nearing a furnace without wearing proper thermal face mask or thermal hand gloves and so on,
Correct.
that's the best thing we can offer, and that is
Correct.
what we are doing.
Correct.
So when we saw our application running live after years of research, where it raise an alarms, it's raise a very annoying alarm that a person is nearing an area without proper PPE.
Correct.
I felt happy that okay, I can avoid another uncle getting his.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes, that's the happiness.
So when we hear about AI is changing lives, I mean, you're truly making it happen.
Yeah.
So that's really amazing, like making it work at the ground level.
Yeah.
So you're the unsung heroes behind the
Thanks,
industrial
thanks,
revolution. Thank you so much, Balaji, for your contribution. So guys, Sriram is a person actively in the field talking to clients, because you're the marketing brains behind the company, right? So when you have to explain to foundry people what exactly you all are doing, I assume you will have a lot of challenges, because right, technology is not really adopted, especially AI, with as we know of it. So, but before you answer that, just let me know a little bit about the trajectory. Like, why did you choose manufacturing and why the foundry industry?
Thanks. The applications of artificial intelligence in real world are quite wide.
Okay.
There have been so many applications for the last few decades, like 10 or 20, 15 years now,
Okay.
where AI is used in smart cities. It's used in schools, hospitals, malls. It has applications that's plentiful. But our idea when we wanted to utilize artificial intelligence in the real world is we wanted to have a pointed spot where there are two aspects. One is where we can increment the productivity in terms of where it will give a return on investment to the people who are writing the check. So where inside a manufacturing factory, even if you are able to augment the performance or availability or any aspect by a slight percentage, that is going to be directly proportional or tangible to the money or the return on investment. This is a very important point why we wanted to choose manufacturing over other domains.
Right.
The another thing is AI by itself in its early stages. So in order to get highest accuracy for the traceability, what's very important is the protocols that needs to be followed. Well, in the real world, inside a mall or a city, as we say, there are no protocols that can be adhered to. But inside a factory, everything is pre-planned, where people should walk, the gangway,
Basically,
the protocol.
replication is very high.
Very high.
Right.
So it's easier for us to train and reach a higher accuracy and also benefit the people who are buying it.
It's also easier to work and learn through the amount of data you all guys are collecting.
Exactly.
That's something that's nice. Okay. So now we covered about manufacturing. Why the foundry industry? How does it work with the foundry industry?
Well, with regards to foundries, we understand that it's one of the most core industry. We have been working with automotives, FMCGs, and a lot of electronic manufacturing OEMs. But we are also working with tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the different kind of industries. But where it all starts, it boils down to one point, which is foundry. If you increment the throughput or productivity of a foundry, everything is augmented like a chain. And inside a foundry, we understand that instead of placing 100 cameras across the factory to enhance the safety, security, very, very important, but it's not directly tangible as a tangible benefit for the return on investment.
Correct.
But if you want to place one camera inside a factory, where would you place it? That's where we understand that you should place it in the most pivotal part, which should be a furnace.
Okay.
In the furnace, we have several aspects like how you can augment the energy utility, the time adherence to protocol. These things are quite definable manageable to where our technology can ensure the SOPs are taking place and give a benefit.
So when you said furnace, sorry to stop you.
Please.
You meant basically y'all guys are focusing on the furnace because the return on investment for one camera would be much higher.
Correct.
Right? There would be a lot of problems y'all are solving by focusing on the furnace. Is that right?
That is correct. However, furnace is a part of a continuous chain.
Right.
So our technology is going to clear the bottlenecks at every milestone or node level. For instance, that could be a problem with the charging bins. The magnet or crane might not be, that be a problem. And once the melting is done, then across to the end finishing product, we have solutions for all types of die casting, gravity die casting, injection die casting, all molds. And for ferrous foundries, we have done for disarm making machine monitoring. And also once the molding is done, we have solutions for shot blast, fetlit, finishing, and CNC machines. So our solutions are meant for end-to-end augmentation of a complete process, so that even if there is a problem with the material movement management, mold line unavailability, at that time, the preparedness should be ready so that the furnace will stop, so that we can avoid energy wastage here. So our solution is meant for end-to-end monitoring inside a foundry.
Okay. And you do all this by basically pointing a camera at the furnace.
That's our core value we are bringing in with regards to what computer vision and artificial intelligence is coming in.
Okay.
So see, let's keep it like this. We do need a lot of parameters from sensors and IoT. Like for instance, energy consumption, pyrometer data, spectrometer data, and the weight that is being tapped. All these things need a lot of sensors that needs to deliver the data to us, but it's not done with it. These technologies are available today, but it demands a lot of manual intervention, and it's not foolproof. What AI is coming in with is doing behavioral classification. When an operator is doing a job, all the data points, all the stages are recorded, automated, completely autonomous and foolproof. So cameras are what our solution is going to act. But for it to act at full potential, we need to work along with sensors, consume the data to make a much advanced and accurate decision, so that we can increment the OEE of every nodal station here, a furnace.
Okay, got it. You mentioned IoT, right? So now IoT, people would think of like Industry 4.0, right? But what you are doing is you claim it's called Industry 5.0.
Correct.
Right. So what is the difference between Industry 4.0 and 5.0? Like just in layman terms, so we could understand quickly.
Sure. That is something that, the audience that we all understand what Industry 4.0 is. And the idea about how the equipments can communicate with each other are self-aware.
Correct.
Is where the sensors are helping from Industry 4.0. But
so Industry 4.0 is where equipment is all communicating with to each other.
Exactly.
And all that is captured.
That is correct.
Right. But no changes are being made.
In order to make the complete visibility of the situation, there are a lot of blind spots. With regards to IoT, there are some shortcomings.
Okay.
Especially when there is manual or semi-automated systems. If it's a fully automated system, then we have a digital footprint of every microstage. But when there is a manual intervention in between, or when it's a semi-automated process, at the time, there are blind spots. The IoT systems or our digital systems do not know what the operators are doing. What computer vision is adding on top of the current Industry 4.0 layer is giving a digital value for the manual intervention. Have I done the slag removal correctly? What timestamp did I do the pyrometric check? So all these things can be added on to the existing layer of Industry 4.0. This can be done only with AI because it is human behavioral classification.
So essentially you're saying it has the ability to self-correct? Is that what you're saying?
It does have the ability to self-correct. It has the ability to take decisions, when to stop. If suddenly the system will tell stop charging, do not start the heat now.
Okay.
But
so it's capable of even those sort of decisions.
That is the preparatory, because there is a bottleneck at the mold line.
Right.
If you are going to charge now, the energy is going to be wasted, or the tap material will be wasted.
So it gives you prompts as to what should be done at what time.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is going to guide the operators to perform at the most optimal level.
Right.
That's where AI can be a suggestive mechanism.
Because even from when I spoke to Balaji earlier, right, he said that safety was the number one priority. So if for example, maybe a line detects an accident happening, does it have the authority to maybe stop the system? Is that something that your system does?
Certainly, in several of the use cases.
Can the whole line be shut down automatically?
If it is a standalone equipments in a line, we can alert the operators to do a manual shutdown.
Okay.
Where it's outside the current layer. But Our system is pre-built to be enabled to be communicated with the PLCs, HMIs. If there is a violation detected, immediately in 0.3 seconds, we can hard stop the machine itself.
Okay.
Like maybe not in a furnace, it will not be useful, but in a press shop.
Right.
Or any kind of a special purpose machine where an operator is not wearing a particular goggles, let's say,
Right.
and a spring winding machine might bounce and hit the eye. If I'm going to step 4 is spring winding machine. In step
Right.
3, if I don't have the goggles,
Right.
the machine will stop.
So-
now this is also, I'll just add a small
Right,
point.
right.
This system was operational, up and running. At one point, there was a network issue and the system did not work.
Okay.
But the clients came to us and told that the operators never removed the goggles once because it is brought in a behavioral change that for them that they need to adhere to the SOPs and PPE. If I do not adhere to the SOP and PPE, the machine will not work. So
Amazing.
that brings in a behavioral change. As a company, as a manufacturing unit, you can define a set of protocols and SOPs.
Right.
But how can we ensure that every single step, everyone, everywhere are following it at every time?
Right.
AI is going to be your supervisor to make
Right.
sure that every SOP and PP is adhered to.
So this is really amazing because what happens is if you have like maybe supervisors involved and they have to, actively be behind an operator, and tell them, hey, you're not wearing your goggles. I don't think that's taken very lightly, right? But if the machine automatically does not start,
Right.
if you're not wearing your goggles, if you're not wearing your hat, if you're not maybe in
Hard hat, helmet,
Correct.
gloves.
then I see how y'all guys are improving safety by those protocols. So that's really amazing.
That's why AI should kick in.
That's an application actually I don't think Balaji spoke about. So it's really really amazing. So Sriram, you're helping us really understand the software better. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
From a layman's point of view, because we want to understand the A, B, and C as to what exactly it's capable. The capabilities of the software are. How does your product stand out from other AI solutions available in the market?
Okay, the backstory I told earlier, there are so many players who are actively involved in AI, most of whom are not really using AI in the right way, but still claiming to be AI because that's the buzzword today.
Right.
But I don't want to put everyone
So
down.
why don't we start with defining AI? Like, what is AI? Let's start with that.
See, the applications of AI are plentiful. It's there in our mobile phones. It's there everywhere. But autonomous decision making is where it can help with. AI can help us to understand pattern, which is unique for each person. Like our search behavior, our utility is unique for each person. The same way, even if it's a furnace, it's the same process. But factory 1 and factory 2 are not the same. There are some unique parameters, some supply chain and everything, material movement, everything changes.
Correct.
So AI can help to adapt to your process.
Correct.
So we have a base model. It's not usually 0 and 1. It's always a gray area. And which is the right spot to be fitting in your operation is where AI can help to kick in. So that is where we are coming. It's going to help you. It will help to learn about your process, and then it will suggest what should be the best mechanism in order to improve the current shortcomings and drawbacks.
Okay.
So AI, and with regards to the earlier question about the competitors, there are a lot of competitors who are doing a great job with regards to AI space. When we talk about computer vision space, which is our core tech, there are also plenty full of operators, but where we stand unique is we have taken the extra effort over the last 3 years to understand certain industries from the grassroots level.
Okay.
From the end of the line operator, his supervisor, what is their goal, what are the parameters affecting their efficiency, what are the planned stops, unplanned stops. We have discussed with so many subject matter experts and industry veterans.
Because even Balaji told me he brought on a lot of foundry consultants to understand. So your guys are really like going to the grassroots level, as you mentioned.
That is true.
And understanding, you're niching down.
Yes.
You're going on the field, you're understanding exactly like as a foundry person, what are the challenges they have, right?
Correct.
Maybe with respect to pouring, with respect to, melting, with respect to all of the machining. And then you've decided now that furnaces is your area where your guys have zeroed in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's pretty impressive. So what happens if a foundry does not adapt AI in the next coming years? Do they go defunct, or what do you feel?
The way furnaces operate today are, everyone wants to go for full automation. That's an option, that's a choice. It will definitely help them, but at what cost? Well, we are sitting down here in India, and when we are talking about some companies in Germany or the United States, for them, manual labor is not a very cost-effective option.
Right.
They'd rather prefer, we'll go for full automation. In the longer run, it's an ROI for them.
Right.
But if you're choosing to operate a foundry in India, our biggest strength is our manual labor. You can effectively get your job done at a much lesser cost by employing people.
Correct.
But that comes with a whole pile of problems as it is.
Correct.
Monitoring and ensuring their protocols and efficiency.
Right.
If you add a layer of AI monitoring on top of it, now you have the assertivity or the assurance that these people are in fact fitting into their protocols with regards to PPE, SOP, cycle time, every other parameters required. Right. So now you can deploy people, deploy AI, and make sure that you can get the best out of manual labor, which is our strength, like a country like India. For us to grow is exactly what is required.
So essentially, it's the best of both worlds. You're taking the USP that we have in India as manpower is being very cheap.
Yes.
So you're optimizing for manpower, and you're also solving for the lack of maybe a system. Adherence to system is something you're solving for.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Following SOPs.
Yes.
You're making all these like a semi-automated mixture for the Indian industry.
That is correct.
So that's really superb.
In fact, we don't want to promote full automation,
right,
because that comes at the cost of replacing humans.
Correct.
When we explain this, it might look like we are micromanaging people.
Correct.
That's exactly not opposite of what we are doing. We are trying to enable people.
Correct.
We are trying to make sure that they never lose their job. They can perform at maximum efficiency, so that they don't have a robot. They need a robot to replace them. I'm going to work there.
Correct.
But I'm going to work in a safe, secure, and productive environment.
Correct.
That's what AI can help us with.
Amazing.
No to automation, yes to AI.
Amazing.
Yes.
So, Sriram, 2 more questions.
Oh, please.
Right. Now, you've given us a pretty good rundown as to what the capabilities of your software are. Right. We've understood. We are very clear now, based on between Balaji and you. Mm-hmm. So, who's not a customer? What foundry do you go to and say like, okay, I don't think this customer would benefit from adoption of our software? Is that a case, or is that like something you all can customize and make anything fit?
The second option of yours would be the ideal answer.
Okay.
We are still in our nascent state, as part of how technology itself is working.
Right.
So yes, there needs to be some kind of initial setup. For instance, a flow rate meter is something that is going to help us give the return on investment, because when we say that we are reducing your cycle time by 2 minutes, it's not tangible. When we say we are reducing energy bill by 2 lakh rupees per month, that's tangible. So in order to do that, we need a flow rate meter.
Correct.
In order to optimize your output, we need to make sure that we are getting the payload sensor value from the EOT cranes.
Right.
The pyrometer should be digital, so that we can take the tapping temperature in real time. So these things will help to adapt to AI in a much faster way.
Correct.
So if a foundry is already adapted to the current basic technology,
right.
If they have a quick introduction into IoT, then they are ready to adapt into Industry 4.0.
Right.
However, having said that, it's not mandatory for them to have IoT 4.0 or anything like that already installed. Right. They can be a conventional industry. Right. And as we are doing human behavioral tracking only, we can very well be able to adapt and customize it for all kinds of foundry furnace environments.
Okay.
We have done for electric arc furnaces, bottom tilt furnaces, cupola furnaces. When you're talking about mold, we have done ferrous, non-ferrous, DISA, and GDC, gravity die casting, all different types of casting. Correct. So we have trained our models to fit into different types of industries of different scales as well. Okay. So we want to believe that our system is completely open and it's going to offer value to all types of foundries, irrespective of the scale.
Correct. So that was an amazing answer. That means that any single foundry could contact you and maybe they could ask you for this is my foundry, it is what it is, right? How can you all guys help me in a way that maybe I could start off with a very small adoption, like cookie size, bite size chunks for my foundry. So Sriram, I want to ask you, give us a few success stories of customers, like maybe cases where somebody adopted your software and in 30 days, 60 days, like what was the expectation and what was the turnaround?
The metrics in which we calculate our return of investments are ideally OEE improvements.
Okay.
Overall equipment efficiency in terms of availability, performance, and the quality. But the more important factors are the energy consumption, reduced energy consumption for every per capita of output. We have implemented our solution in more than 20 different kind of furnaces, furnace implementation, several clients, and we are scaling fast. So we are getting a lot of repeat orders, and the main reason is in some of our customers, we have bought the energy consumption per every ton of output from close to 740 kilowatt per hour to less than 700, 680 kilowatt per hour. That's a very tangible direct return on investment and benefit for the customers.
Right.
How we are doing it is how we can keep the delay, weight, and preparedness ideally, so that we can bring in higher efficiency, more throughput within the given slot time, and reduce the wastage of energy and material to be able to deliver that output.
Right.
So these are some of our metrics of success, and apart from this, many customers have come out to us within the second month itself and told, forget the tangible return of benefits that we know we will get, but the data points that the system was giving, we were recording all this manually all these years, it was all wrong. Now we don't have to worry about recording the data points.
Okay.
That itself is a benefit. Now I want it for all the systems, all my furnaces. So many customers see different data points. Somebody see the data itself as a huge knowledge bank for them.
Yeah, data is something that we've never had earlier, as a Foundry Industry. It's really amazing. We've already covered a lot of digitalization on our channel, right? So these are all new things that are coming in. So it's really amazing. So I wanted to ask you, what is the synergy between your software and other softwares that a customer might already have? Like maybe they have a SAP, they have some amount of ERP going on, maybe they have another a competitor's software in-house. So do you synergize between softwares, or is like your product a standalone?
Yeah, it's a very nice question, because that's the end answer. Our product is never standalone. Like I explained, Industry 5.0, for it to, in order to operate, we need every other layer of other technology that needs to come in.
Okay.
Not even the physical systems like PLC, HMI and stuff. Even the SAP, the ERP data, the Active Directory of your employees, and what is the shipment of their stuff coming in, and what is the SKU of this particular batch. So our system is two-way communication enabled. We consume data and we expose data.
Right.
We consume data both via digital and physical systems,
Correct.
either as APIs or as via PLC. We will communicate and consume data in order to make a much advanced or accurate decision.
Right.
So it will add an extra layer for the decision support system that we are offering.
Right.
And also, our system does not operate as a pure post-mortem based system. It's not going to give you a bunch of reports at the end of the day. It's built to make corrective actions right then and there. When there is a violation, when there is a problem, when there is a delay, the core idea of the application is to make a suggestive corrective action right at the problem statement, so that we can avoid it at the word go itself. So in order to make it as a real-time response system, we will communicate again with PLCs, physical and digital systems. And ours is completely universal. It's not dependent on any particular brand or anything like that. So completely is open.
So you all are able to work with other manufacturers of, or other software designers, and sort of find equal touch points as to where you all can collaborate.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's okay.
We have worked with Noric and several other flow rate meters and PLCs. We've already worked with third parties to work with their PLC communication.
Right. The reason I asked you this is because, say, a customer has already adopted, like when you adopt a SAP model, when you adapt any other software, it's a lot of implementation time, as you'll know, right?
Yes.
So they've spent considerable amount of time, sitting and brainstorming and maybe making the system work. And for all of a sudden, for them to go and change to your adoption is like, they might see this as a challenge.
Right.
So the fact that you can adopt with whatever else they have in place is really...
that is true, because also we don't want to waste the investments that the industries have already made.
Right.
We don't want them like us discard all that, this is a new one.
Right.
We want to put a layer on top of what they already have to make more meaning and sense out of the money they've already spent.
Right.
So yeah.
How long would your implementation last? Just a ballpark figure.
Let's say like 4 weeks. From the time everything is ready for us to go get started with our development, once we get the feed in and everything, our team will work for like 2 weeks for a model building. Then we will deploy it on the premise, and there will be on-prem hand holding. There will be a feed forward training to improve the accuracy, to teach the system what's a true positive and a true negative. So once the system reaches a critical accuracy, it will be given for the user acceptance testing, and the system will be live.
Critical accuracy.
Yeah, because the system will always start with a much lower accuracy. AI is like any other, just one child.
It learns more when it has more data.
Yes, it learns more with the data. Like we said, we have to make the system custom to each and every shop floor individually.
Right.
So there will be an initial phase of
and the variation between shop floors that you might have seen
yes,
from Foundry to Foundry. So that must be really a challenge. I think implementation is where you all, I think, would struggle most.
A lot.
Right.
Yes. So to adapt to unique environments is a challenge.
So Hari pretty much has his job cut out for him.
Yes. That's a very challenging and interesting job too.
Right. So thank you, Sriram.
Thank you so much.
So guys, Hari is more of a technical head right now. He's on the field. He's very involved in the implementation. So he can guide us exactly on the challenges that you're facing in the industry. because it's very nice to hear about new tech, right? And it can change the industry, but whether it's working or not, you will be able to tell us,
Right.
right? So Hari, nice to have you on the show,
Nice to have you.
right?
Yeah.
So Hari, give us some challenges that you find during implementation. Like what are people asking you, and why maybe is it not being adopted as well, or how can it be done faster? Just something that you've experienced.
Cool. Like Balaji was saying, I feel the word AI is saturated.
Okay.
It's mostly used. So people tend to understand when you can walk, people expect you to run.
Right.
So because the foundry industry is a iron and steel industry full of dust, nobody can avoid it. Even in the advanced industries, surfaces, you get to have more kind of dust that forms environment in a different expression. So there we are doing computer vision. That means what you see is what you get.
Right.
It is like a helping phenomenon to the foundry industry. They don't need to be on the place. Yeah, where people are afraid about AI going to replace their jobs. It's
Correct.
not true actually.
Right.
So it is going to make their job easier to have a complete vision of like a super spectacle that a
Right.
factory supervisor is using. So we are using vision because AI is used in the data already, voice already, but it is not properly used in the field of vision. That's why we chose vision. And
Correct.
the major difficulty that we face in the implementation of AI for foundries is that no environment is same. Even one in a single foundry, one set of foundry will be different for
Right.
surface, and another will be different.
Right, because there's a lot of different technology.
Different
Different
technology.
foundries have different level of capital equipment.
Correct.
Size is a different thing. Level of automation. Some are very labor intensive, as you'll
Right.
see. Right.
Right.
So there's a lot of variation between your
Between the different customers.
Correct.
Right. So people expect something like artificial intelligence. They expect artificial intelligence to do everything. It's not like that. Artificial
Correct.
intelligence is like a baby.
Correct.
You need to teach the baby what is it, what's the process that is happening. So we have a very good baby that understands what is happening in the foundry industries, all the nuances. Just that each furnaces, the ladles are different, the furnace shape is different. Some using induction, some using cupola. The
Right.
process is different.
Right.
The materials, the way they charge the materials is different.
Right.
So those are the phenomena that are the difficulties that we face when we go from foundry to foundry.
So a foundry is also a very, very harsh environment.
That's correct.
How do you ensure your camera sensors and everything, the software works with so much of dust, with there's a lot of carbon accumulation. If you look at it like a month later,
Right.
there's like black all over the place. Even new equipment,
Exactly.
2 months later you can't recognize them
Even
at all.
recognize whether there is a camera or not. Where's the
Right.
camera? I would be like,
Right.
hey.
So how do you how robust does your equipment have to be to survive those conditions?
We faced with this kind of difficulties when we entered into foundry industry.
Initially,
It was very harsh for us. We were very good at doing a lot of good things in FMCG, automotive
Correct.
companies. But foundry, we faced a lot of struggle. But the growth needs to be put in the place using AI.
right.
So we devised so many mechanisms. We put in a proper coverage systems like AC cabinets with a foundry that can prevent rust from entering inside. Because you see, the foundry environments, the dust will have iron particles.
Correct.
If that iron particles sit in the chipsets, it is gone.
Correct.
It gets sorted, right?
Correct.
So we put in a proper covers to the cameras, to the
Right.
computational devices. There's a chemistry lab near every foundry, so we place our devices there to
Okay.
prevent it from the
Yeah,
shortage.
because the labs are basically always air conditioned
in condition
because of the spectrometer.
spectrometers. Yes,
So-
that's correct.
So that's something that I think you all guys have learned on the job.
Yeah, exactly. We have around 3 years of 3 years of experience
Right.
with foundry.
As Balaji said, right.
Right.
So that's nice. I wanted to ask you now. You're talking about object detection, right? Your entire technology is based on object detection.
Right.
So that means you identify what's happening on a shop floor through your cameras, or
Yes.
mainly on a furnace, with a furnace, right?
That's correct.
So how do you know this is the furnace? How does your software know what a furnace is, what a ladle is, what a human is, what a human's hat is?
Right.
How do you identify all these things? Because you're the technical guy.
Right.
I want to know from you like the A to Z of how this thing works.
Cool. So we basically are the guys who create technology. We have created a technology that knows all the contours. It is kind of a brain that has already the pre-trained models. So our model knows what is a furnace look. Even we have collected we worked with set of customers, right?
Okay.
So it knows the nuances between how each furnaces will look like. What is the action if the furnaces is tilting down, whether it is tapping or it is loading. When the vibrocharger is coming, so it knows we have a pre-trained model, cluster of models,
Okay.
like how vibrocharger in each industry.
So this is
looks like.
basically your database that you're filling in.
That's correct.
Okay. So it can correct me if I'm wrong. Like, have you all had instances where you had somebody very very like thin and puny on a shop floor and somebody like maybe like Dwayne Johnson walking on the shop floor, like how does your camera tell the difference? Does it make an error sometime? How do you?
It made a lot of errors
Initially.
especially during the initial days.
Okay.
Then we applied our learnings and the camera learnings, our technology learning. The technology is something that's
Correct.
self-learning over the period of time.
Okay.
It has seen so many nuances in the foundry industries.
Okay.
How a man will look like near the furnace, because near the furnace the lighting will be very huge.
Correct.
And you will be looking in a bright surface.
Correct.
If you go a little far away from the furnace, you'll be in a dark environment.
Correct. Because even the camera, if you look at the footage later on, you can only see like a ball of fire.
Right.
It's very hard to distinguish and recognize what's going on.
Right.
Right.
So that's when during the tapping we used a Polaroid filter for the cameras to reduce the light intensity towards the camera.
Okay, we are going to try and play some footage of the the capturing of the tapping that's going on right now while you're speaking.
Sure.
So just so you all guys can understand a little bit about how the technology works and exactly what it is. At least a photo, if nothing else.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I want a real world scenario from you where you went to a customer and you implemented properly and there was some tangible results to show. Like,
Okay.
what do you think, like somebody implements your software today, let's say I commission SeeWise at my foundry right now, like what is the first benefit I can expect in the first 30-90 days?
Perfect. So even if you take the wealthiest, there is something that everyone don't have. That is time. Nobody has time actually. So our first ROI factor is the time. We
Okay.
save time. Okay. So via vision, we know it's like you sitting as a man and watching what is happening in the furnaces.
Okay.
So we have the camera looking at the furnace. It knows when to put the charging, when to extract it. So ideally, from furnace to furnace, the cycle time, the heat time is 55 minutes or 45 minutes. But
Right.
sometimes people tend to do other jobs, miss the takt time,
Correct.
and it increases. Okay. So we have an alert system. Our system is not something like a postmortem. It has a real-time alert systems that can alert the users. Hey, you need to you have charged before 30 minutes. You have to tap it in another 5 minutes.
So you're saying your software knows when the charge is ready?
Yes.
How is that possible?
They do pyrometry and spectrometry check, right? Our
Okay.
system has the capability to interact with the pyrometer results and the spectrometer results.
Okay, so you're monitoring the
Temperature along with the chemistry.
Okay.
So we get to know whether the chemistry is as per the expected result, and we
Correct.
have the temperature that is ideal.
That's actually very powerful because imagine somebody is losing 5 minutes every heat and they're taking
Right.
about 16 heats a day,
Yeah.
right? That's a
Even
big
if you
amount.
do like in the place of 16 heats, if you do 18 heats, it's
Correct, it's almost like one heat every day they're wasting.
right.
So it's a really huge. It's almost like if you're pouring a ton,
Right.
16 heats. It's a ton of rejections
Ton.
every day that it's energy just consumed.
Right.
Plus the melting loss, plus the loss of everything. You could just keep adding on.
That's correct. The next thing is energy. We interact with the flow meter
Okay.
and get to know like every furnace, sometimes people increase the power supply during the charging, which is not actually needed.
Correct.
Once the charging is completed, they can increase the power supply.
Correct.
So we communicate with the like flow meter, and then we get to know what is the power that is being supplied. So via vision, we get to know what is the current process.
Correct.
Then we have the masters that, hey, the charging is happening. Why are you supplying 1.5 kilowatt of energy? You
Correct.
don't need it. So we save energy. So
Correct.
these are the two key parameters that we are solving.
Correct.
The time and energy.
So we've understood now the benefits, right? Even
Right.
though these are tangible benefits, but
Yes.
intangibles will
It will be humongous.
huge, right? You can't even quantify them.
That's right.
So now, what are the most common operational issues that you have with your AI software?
Okay.
Like you must be getting some calls from customers like 6 months later, and
Right.
you're learning as it is, right?
That's
it's a new
correct.
technology. So what are some issues you had initially that have been solved now? Let's go with that.
Cool, Dan. So when we started initially with Foundry, we received a call after 1 month. The customer starts to get the ROI within 4 to 6 weeks because it's directly impacting the time and energy.
Right.
But when we go in the matter of 2 to 3 months, people calling, hey, your software is not working. Then we actually check on it. We have mandated an SOP like, hey, you need to, this is a dusty environment. Of course, we have cleaners for the camera, but it's an SOP for them that you need to clean the cameras once a week and then restart the system once a month. We have provided some SOPs.
Okay.
Those people just only get the outcomes and they miss to do that. So we have prepared a mandatory SOP visits from our side to the customer sites as part of the AMC, and we check whether those actions are done to get the system optimally running. So that one thing that we have implemented from this.
So this brings us to another point. Service.
Right.
Service is something that is very critical.
That's correct.
So you're saying that, okay, you had these issues maybe 6 months because it's a new software, it's expected. So when you have these issues, how quickly do you resolve them, and how can you do it by remote? Because
Cool.
you won't have a service network all around India right now.
That's correct.
Right. So you need to do it like by remote,
Right.
sitting here in Chennai.
Right. Sitting here in Chennai, we have very good partners spread across all over India. So sometimes if it is reachable by the partners, we execute via them.
Okay.
In that case, just a given remote access through TeamViewer, AnyDesk or something, that would do the job.
So mainly because it's software, it's solvable through TeamViewer.
That's correct.
So it's not such a big issue.
Big deal for us.
That's
yes.
great. So I imagine since you've been running for 3 years now, most of those initial niggles would be ironed out.
Right.
And your software is pretty much ready to fly now.
That's
so that's
correct.
probably why you've called me now to scale up the marketing. That's nice. Hari, couple of industry questions I have for you right now.
Sure.
Y'all seem to be at the forefront of AI technology with respect to manufacturing and the foundry industry in general. So what changes do you see coming in the next 5 to 10 years that we can expect?
Cool.
Give us a little bit of what's coming ahead.
Cool. That I can align your question with our roadmap as well. So right now what we are doing, we have a model that we customize for the customer. Going forward, we are working on something called large vision model. Okay, where customer can buy it in a devices and install it, where they themselves, hey, this is the foundry, they can mark it on the boxes and they start do the thing.
So they can tell the software, this is a man, this is a furnace, this is a ladle, those type of things.
That's right. It's like setting up an email for you. Amazing. My name is this, my credential is this. You given, so this is the furnace, this is where they will be coming. That's it.
So I can't help draw the synergy between y'all guys doing, like software and app designing, and now you're doing the same thing with AI technology. You're giving the freedom to the customer
users.
completely, so they don't have to keep calling you for adjustments and changes and improvements.
Right.
That's amazing. So how far ahead do you think this is coming?
Cool. Right now we are in the beta phase developing it. So we are planning to roll this by quarter 2 of 2025.
Oh, that fast? Next year?
Next year, yes.
Okay.
The beta access where they can use only certain segments of the processes, and still they may need help. But the 5-year roadmap that I'm seeing is that giving the customer everything, they can monitor anything.
Okay. That's amazing. So now this was mainly about the foundry industry, right? Like we are segmenting the foundry industry and manufacturing in general. When we look at overall, what do you think AI is capable of doing? Because you will also be looking at the overall worldview as to what's happening in different parts of the world. Correct? So where are we headed?
Perfect. As you know, Foundry is one of the solutions for SeeWise product platform.
Correct.
Right? So we are bringing down everything towards manufacturing industry, not just Foundry. So if you take that, we are basically trying to build a large vision model that stands on its own, having users configure on its own. We are monitoring basically 4 things: the man, the operator, can be FMCG operator, assembly operator, engine operator, and then the method. The method at which he is operating, the machine. Here, foundry it is furnace. The molding shop, it is a pouring machine. Right. And then the material, the raw material that they're using, they charge it or they make it assembly. So we are building a model that monitors this forum: man, method, machine, and material. So we are building a large vision model to that, and that's where we are heading to.
The key thing is AI is changing the world, especially in the manufacturing segment. If we can provide a solution with the help of just CCTV and artificial intelligence, people don't need to buy an industrial vision camera for this particular scenario. If we can use the CCTV system and provide the safety and productivity improvement, that's the best thing to have. And the good thing about SeeWise is we are already doing it for many big companies.
Correct. Can you name a few companies you are working with?
Oh yeah. When it comes to Foundry, thanks for the support from Nelcast, Kishwalk, Crescent Foundry, TVS Turbo Energy. They are all supporting us like anything. They are very happy to be receptive and welcome the same.
So also shows that your software is self-validated by now.
Yes. Yeah. We have paying customers and they are using it. And most importantly, you are asking about, are we only for premium customers or premium foundry?
Correct.
No, right? India is full of foundry
SMEs.
SMEs, and they are the one who contribute a lot than the bigger companies actually. So we have a specific plan for them where we are able to monitor the most important parameter at a very affordable cost. Because we are not just after.
So thank you for not leaving us SMEs and MSMEs out.
The SMEs are the biggest pillar of our nation, right? So we have solution for them. so that they can get started and start seeing the value.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you spoke a lot about safety, how safety can help. Maybe I mean you can help solve accidents, because on your website I think 11,000 accidents avoided. That's
Yeah.
something that's very emphasized all over the place.
Yeah.
But if a foundry is looking at your software as maybe an adoption, and they want to measure it in terms of ROI, so safety is yes one part. Okay, but what about the ROI part? Can you speak a little bit about that
Sure,
as well?
sure. There are, the first thing is for any product to be successful, once the safety is addressed, the
Correct.
productivity is something that will define the ROI.
Right.
And for furnace industry, we go with savings energy, because for a foundry, the most important factor is energy bills.
Correct. The
So
biggest
they pay a
amount of
lot
bill.
for energy.
Right,
So
right.
we reduce that significantly.
Right.
And the second thing is we increase their metric output.
Okay.
What happens in any manufacturing company, be it manufacturing or FMCG or even a corporate office, the blame game will be there.
Correct.
Like, no, that guy is not doing his job. He is not here. He went for a tea break, or he went there, and things and so
Right.
on. Or other things is like this machine is not running.
Correct.
The material is not available.
Correct.
So it's very natural for humans to put the blame on someone else and keep waiting for something to happen.
Correct.
So what we do here is we raise an alarm via light buzzer or a simple display or an SMS or WhatsApp that
Right.
the material is not available, the human is not available. Then the shop floor manager can quickly take an action and get that address, and that's how we improve the productivity.
Okay.
So the key ROI is by measuring the 4 key parameters that Hari also highlighted: man, mission, method, and material.
Right.
So we monitor that and alert, so the ROI improves.
Correct.
So that's the key.
So it seems like you all guys have really dug into the industry and studied the foundry industry from a root level, because you already pretty much know a lot about it.
Yes.
Especially coming from a software background, I didn't expect you to understand all these industrial terms.
So there are many technical terms that we understood from the foundry business.
How did that learning go about?
Oh, that's the wonderful thing. See, I have a father who got retired, and now he is advising me.
Okay.
So similarly, there are many people who got retired, and we took their help, especially the foundry
from who are in the industry.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the foundry men is a beautiful title,
Right.
and
Right.
they are veterans in the industry.
Right.
So we hired them as a consultant,
Right.
and there are like 4 to 5 foundry men across India. They shaped our products.
Okay.
They taught us what is spectrometer, pyrometer, why the temperature should be in this range, and so on. The in and out of the furnace. So the biggest credit goes to them.
Amazing.
That's the value we bring in.
Correct.
Because software is easy, technology is easy, but what value we are going to give? Correct. That's the most important part.
Correct. So I think you guys have done an amazing job. Thank you for reaching out to us, especially because it's really nice to be here in Chennai, and I think I've had a really lovely time with your team, with Sriram, with Hari, especially, who spoke about the technicals and the interaction with customers as to how your software is being adopted in the industry, on the field. So we really learned a lot. Where can the audience find you if somebody wants to reach SeeWise, your website?
Yeah. Our
your primary
website is www.SeeWise.AI.
So I'll put the link to the website in the description. Your email, LinkedIn. Do you use LinkedIn?
Yeah, we use LinkedIn.
Okay, so
we are also available on LinkedIn.
Right.
And we have a specialized experience center both in Singapore and in Chennai.
Right.
We have with the help of our partner, we have a live experience center as well.
Right.
So that people can really feel, because everyone says that we can do this, that, and so on.
Right.
So one experience center near Chennai and another one in Singapore.
Right.
So people can also visit that place and have a feel of it. Yeah.
Amazing. Really, guys, do check SeeWise out. We'll put the links in the description. Thank you so much for watching. And it's been a real great pleasure coming here, talking to Balaji in person, interacting with the team. They're really doing really great stuff. And this is part of what we do and why we do what we're doing. To cover new technologies in the market, to give them the opportunity to reach a wider audience, because these guys are really doing amazing stuff. But the problem is, if nobody knows about them, then that's really good effort that is lost. So that is the reason, pretty much.
Thanks, Ian. You are doing a wonderful job, and
thank you.
Looking forward.
Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you.
Yeah.